Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1. It's always good to be back behind the microphone. Hello, everybody. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and this is the Happy Camper Radio Show. It's episode 154, and on the program today, we're going to take a look at the contents of our first aid kit. Everybody who goes camping should have a first aid kit. In fact, you should have a first aid kit just about everywhere you go. But why is it important to take inventory? Because items inside that first aid kit tend to expire, they tend to be worn out, and if you're like me and have a first aid kit that you've carried for many, many years and never had the opportunity to go use it, then definitely you want to go check inside to see if anything needs to be replaced. So very important. We've got a very informative show for you today. Stick around. It's going to be a good one. Our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show is 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to www.happycamperradio.com. You'll find all of our social media icons on the right-hand side of the page. You click on any one of them, and you'll connect up with us. And also, if you by chance happen to follow us or like us on social media, then you give me an opportunity to go to the shout-out window and say hello to you. And that's what we're going to do right now. We've got some wonderful people who signed up with us on social media this past week, and I want to go ahead and take some time to recognize them. First of all, to Mark and Deb Stock of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, Louis Suarez of Louisville, Texas. They like us on Facebook. To the fine folks over at Glitz Camp Glamping Tent Company in Los Angeles, California. Also to Toe Demco in Boyden, Iowa. Mary Acravelli of Maryland. They're following us on Twitter. And finally to Seth, who subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you all so very much. Glad having you all on board. And more importantly, thank you for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Would you like to be a guest on my radio show? I'd love to have you. Get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. If you have something in the world of camping you'd like to talk about, definitely we need to sit down and chat. Okay, folks, what I want to talk to you about today is I want to talk to you about the contents of your first aid kit. But before I do that, do you remember not long ago I spoke to you about upgrading my tent? I was interested in getting a particular type of tent. I am the type of a person, even though I'm a one-man show when I go camping, I love having room. I love having space. I do not like getting on my hands and knees. I'm getting too old for that. I don't like crawling around and rolling around on the tent floor. I have a cot that I have set up on the inside. So I need a lot of room and I need a lot of space. But I try to make things as convenient for myself as I possibly can when I go camping. Because of a few of the folks I have camped with, and I'm always looking to see what other people have. I don't like to copy folks. I'm in my own little world when I go camping. But at the same time, if I see something that I like, that I think is going to benefit me, then I'm going to have my radar set on purchasing one of those items and putting it into my camping supply inventory. One of the items that I have been monitoring here very closely are the Coleman Instant Tents. And our friend Scott out in Arizona just emailed us this week, so I want to go to the email bag here and reach out to him. And here's what Scott tells us. He says, "Hey, Skip, I just used the Coleman Instant Tent on the Mogollon Rim during the Arizona monsoon. It was fantastic. After I set it up in the rain in a great rush, I realized I was under a Widowmaker and had to move the tent. No problem. Down in 2 to 3 minutes, move and back in 2 to 3 minutes. Wow. Water was flooding under the tent and no water seeped in. I can go along with that. I did have a 1/4-inch defect in the seam, and it did cause a slow drip. That was a fast and easy fix, and I won't hold it against Coleman. One issue with this large tent is finding a matching plot of flat land to pitch it. I did purchase a marine battery just for camping, and it was great to have a light in the tent, easy to charge flashlights, run air mattress, blower fans, etc. Having power is a big deal when you're out in the woods. I dislike using the truck battery because you are depending on that battery to do one job, and it should be left alone. Scott, thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate that. Anytime you can reach into the email bag and pick up an email that one of your listeners sent you, I always like to have the opportunity to share it with my audience. But those Coleman Instant Tents, they really have caught my attention. And like I said, a couple of the guys that I go camping with have them. And I think they come in two different models. They got a smaller model and a larger model. Of course, I'm going to spend the extra money and I'm going to buy the bigger one. And when I do, I'll probably set it up in my backyard and have camera ready and share those photographs with you. So again, Scott, thank you so much for writing into the show. But anyway, I want to get back to talking about first aid kits. Do you carry a first aid kit with you when you travel? You might be surprised to know that there are some campers who don't own a first aid kit, never had one, and never had a reason to own one. There are people, and I can't even remember the last time I was camping and had to reach into my first aid kit for something. People have camped for years and never even got a scratch. But regardless of your age or the amount of time you travel, you should be carrying a first aid kit with you just about everywhere you go. In addition to having one in your home, you should have one in your car, have one in your boat, maybe your RV, your motorhome, your camper. Anytime when you're camping, keep one in your camping supply box. If you're out on a hike somewhere, throw a small first aid kit in your backpack because you just never know when you're going to need it. And, it's kind of like having an insurance policy in a way. You don't use your insurance unless the time comes when you have to rely upon it. And that's what first aid kits are for. And you can purchase them in a number of different sizes and quantities. And, you can go online to the Red Cross website, and they've got a whole list of information and some items that you should be carrying inside a first aid kit for a family of 4. And the list kind of looks extensive, but it makes perfect sense just in the event that you need any of those items to get you by until you can get some professional medical help. And hopefully it never comes down to that. Hopefully you're only going to need a Band-Aid here and there, and that'll be it. But your first aid kits, if you don't want to put one together for yourself, you can buy them just about anywhere. Your local hardware store, your Walmart store, camping supply stores have them. And you can get them in just about any shape or size. It really depends on what your personal needs are. I have a couple of them, and I'm just going to stay mainly focused on my camping supplies because, the ones I have at home is just if it's here for a separate purpose. And I'm not going to be reaching into my camping box to get something out of a first aid kit if I have a first aid kit here in the house. The one I have for camping is strictly used in the event I should need it during a camping trip. But they're very inexpensive and, very inexpensive to own and maintain. They're used for simple scratches and bruises. And like it says, if just in the event that something happens where you have to seek professional medical help, what you have at hand may help you get by and may help, just in the event something does happen that, requires some additional assistance from medical personnel, you might be able to prevent a small situation from increasing into a big one. You know what I'm saying, okay? Covering a wound until professional help arrives. That's so very, very important. And in addition to having your first aid kit, it's also important that you get adequate training in the area of first aid and CPR because you just never know when you're going to need that. It's something everyone should have. I received first aid training many, many years ago when I got out of high school. I was crazy. I had to get out of the house. I had to do something. And what I ended up doing is joining our local volunteer fire department. Now, back in those days, we're talking way, way back now, they were just introducing the world to EMTs, emergency medical technicians. Most people who rode an ambulance had nothing more than a first aid card. And that's the way it was back then. Today, how far we have come. And, people, if you call EMS and, you're getting somebody with some very, very professional training. to provide you first responder assistance until they can get you to a hospital. You got to take your hats off to those fine folks, just like police officers. They're out there. They don't get paid much money for what they do. But, if we ever need them, they're always there for us, So, hey, thank you so much, guys and gals. Really, really appreciate that. But, if you can get a course available in your area, check with your local church, pick up the phone book, check with your local fire department. Maybe they could help you out there too and point you in the right direction to find out where you can take a first aid course or a CPR course. I think, it's something, like I say, folks young and old should have. And you never know when and where that type of help will be needed. It's a valuable training, and it can help to save a life. You could be, a stranger, somebody you never know who's going to need assistance. So, and of course, you can also contact the Red Cross and the American Heart Association, and you can find their contact information online. Now, if you don't have a first aid kit, like I say, I highly encourage you to get one today. Don't just go out and buy one and put it away and say, wow, here it is. If I ever need it, I know where to find it. Anytime you buy a first aid kit, I don't care how small or how big it is, open it up, take a look inside, see what's available, see what's going to be there just in the event you happen to need to reach inside of it. Think of all the places a first aid kit may come in handy. And like I said, we just mentioned a number of places. I don't do much hiking anymore, but when I do venture away from camp, and I know I'm going to be away from camp for, say, maybe an hour or two, yeah, I have a small waist sack. No, I don't carry one of those big backpacks on me. I tear my back up at this age. But no, I've got one of those fancy fanny packs that you put on. It's got little compartments here and there. But I do have a small first aid kit that I carry with me. Because I don't want to trip and fall and bruise my knee and say, oh, I wish I had a first aid kit. No, I've got one right here, and it's going to come in handy. So if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, make sure that you at least get something and have it with you. Because especially if you have young kids, you know how kids are. When they're out and about and they're running around at camp, they are letting off steam that they would otherwise not be letting off at home. And that's the place for kids to go have fun. So let them run, let them have a great time. But you got to also expect, too, that from time to time, there are going to be some trips and falls, and there's going to be a need for a first aid kit. And Mom and Dad, you are going to be coming to their rescue, and you are going to be the person who has all of those items necessary to make things better. Now, here's something else I want to point out for you, and this is something that I don't believe a whole lot of people know. In addition to your first aid kit, if you are on any type of prescription medication, you know and I know that you're going to be carrying those prescription meds with you, especially if you are required to take them on a daily basis. Now, granted, here I am, and and I shouldn't be talking about this, but I mean, let's go ahead and talk about it as we need to. As we get older, we're going to be making frequent trips to the doctor at least once a year for our annual physical, and there may be some things that come about in your life, and because of the lifestyle you have, you may be prescribed certain medication that the doctor feels that you need to take on a regular basis. Some people may take a couple pills of this or that a day, and some people may take a whole slew of medication. Nobody likes to carry all of those individual containers with them. And, they become big, they become bulky, they take up a lot of space, but they're our lifeline, okay? It's what we count on having with us, and if we didn't have them out on the road, we would definitely have them at home. Now, what I use at the house, and chances are this is probably you too, if you take more than 2 or 3 different medications and you have to take them in the morning and in the evening, chances are you're going to have one of those little compartments, that have the AM, PM boxes, and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And, you just go ahead once a week and fill those compartments up. It's very convenient. And this way you don't have to open the lids of every individual container and pop up 1 pill here, 2 pill there. It's very convenient for you to have at home. Okay, and it doesn't require you to open multiple bottles except for maybe once a week. You simply add your medications at this time, and you can purchase these most likely at your local drugstore if you have a CVS pharmacy or in your area, or your local pharmacy for that matter. They do sell those, and they become very handy for us. Now, however, I want to point out you shouldn't be using them while traveling, and I'll tell you for a couple reasons. In the event an emergency strikes where it is going to require a trip to the emergency room, you know and I know when you get there, the hospital emergency personnel are going to want to know all the prescription medications you take. And chances are the people on the ambulance crew, when they arrive, they're going to be asking you those same questions. What do you take? How many times a day do you take it? And you should have those containers available with you in the event you are traveling. If you're carrying that little box that you loaded up before you came out on a camping trip and you left all of your original containers at home, that's not going to help them. Now, I carry a list of everything that I take in my wallet, along with my health insurance card, my dental card, and my prescription medication card. And, our wallets, that's kind of like we're carrying the bank with us. We carry all of our personal information in there. So in addition to carrying the information in your wallet, you might want to even include a list in your first aid supply box. Because in the event you need that information to pass on to emergency personnel, they're going to have it. In addition to that, if you're carrying the prescription drugs in their original container, then they're going to be clearly identifiable. A lot of people carrying them in one of those gallon-sized plastic bags. That's what I do when I travel, whether I'm on a camping trip or not, or if I may be going to a seminar somewhere out of state and be staying at a hotel. I always carry my medication with me in their original containers that was given to me by the pharmacist when I picked them up. They contain your doctor's name and phone number. That contains the pharmacy phone number, and it tells you on there the instructions on taking those individual medications. So you're saying, Skip, well, you're talking about first aid kits, so why are you bringing this up? I'll tell you why. Because in some states, it is illegal to carry medication outside their original prescription pill bottle. Georgia is one of those states. I can't answer for all the state because every state has, different laws and different rules and regulations and what have you. But if you're carrying those medications outside their original prescription pill bottle in the state of Georgia, and you get stopped, and a law enforcement officer asks you, what is this? Well, that's my medication. Where is the original pill bottle? Well, they're at home. He doesn't know what those pills are. And I'm not saying that he's going to be immediately looking at you as a criminal, but the fact that remains that, if you're doing that, then you're breaking the law. And nobody wants to break the law, and nobody wants to get in trouble. So it's very important that you carry with you, when you go camping, your original prescription pill bottles with the instructions on them, and take them with you everywhere you go when you go camping. And when you get home, just put them back up on the shelf. Yeah, it's going to be one of those inconveniences when you're camping that you're going to have to open up each and every individual bottle, and you may have to do that once or twice a day. But you're carrying that bottle for a number of reasons. Again, in the event you have to go to the hospital, then all those pills are going to come with you. The hospital emergency personnel are going to know exactly what you're going to be taking. It's going to have your doctor's phone number. It's going to have your pharmacy number. And in case any questions need to come up, they can go ahead and contact them. And it's one less thing you and your family are going to have to worry about. So, when you go camping, in addition to your first aid kit, you should be carrying, like I just said, my health insurance card. That goes with me. My prescription medication card, if you have one of those. You also, like I say, need to carry a complete list of all the prescription medications you take, including dosages. I hate going to an emergency clinic for the very first time, or even to a doctor's office that I've never been to before, and you've got all these lengthy forms you've got to fill out, and you've got writer's cramp before it's all over. And and I know they're going to be asking you to list all the prescribed medications that you're taking, including the dosages. So if you have all of that information at hand that can be passed off to emergency personnel at the time, you can go ahead and give it to them then. Carry your emergency phone numbers with you. If you wear a medic alert bracelet, make sure that you have that on while you're traveling, because that advises people who come to your aid in the event you cannot respond, in the event you may be unconscious. Let's hope it never, ever gets to that. But if it does, those medical alert bracelets are there for a reason, and they can help save a life. You got to keep in mind, no one plans to get injured or sick while you're away from home. It's always best to be prepared for the unexpected, and that's what I really try to do each and every time. So, you think about it, it's in the back of your head. It's not one of those things that are put at the front of the table when you're planning a camping trip. But, if you take some time to do this now, right after this particular radio program, if you've got nothing better to do with your time, you should be going inside your first aid kit that you have in your camping supply box, in your RV, in your home, whether in your car, wherever the case may be, and think about some of the things that I talked about on today's radio show and say, wow, am I missing this? Maybe, as Skip says, I need to go ahead and add these things. Just in the event something may happen while I'm away. You want to look out for yourself. You want to look out for your family. You want to look out for your kids. And definitely you're going to want to look out for the people next door to you while you're camping. You just never know if somebody next to you may require help, and you can be there for them. That's why, again, it's so very important that if you can get first aid training, if you can get CPR training, go ahead and take the time to do that. It's a great thing for you to have, not only for at home, but for when you're out there among strangers and people you've never met before, and you have the opportunity to save a life. You're going to be right there for them. Keep that first aid kit handy. Again, especially if you have young kids. And moms, you're probably better at this than anybody else. Those kids are going to be running around, and you probably put on more fair share of your bandages, and you've kissed enough wounds, and and just to make your kids feel better. But that's what we do as parents. These first aid kits, like I say, should be inspected periodically. Inside, now I'll tell you, the first aid kit that I have in my camping supply box, I've had it for a very long time, and it wasn't not long ago that I opened it up to take a look inside to see if I had everything that I may need, just in the event I had to use it. And I come to find out there were some expired items in there. A lot of these first aid kits are going to have little aspirin tablets that they have in a little package. You tear them open. If you need if you have a headache and you need to take an aspirin or two, it's going to be right there in the first aid box. But at the same time, those things expire, and you may find expiration dates on them. So if you do, you need to discard of them properly and go ahead and replace those. Same thing with bandages. You might have some rolled up bandages, some gauze bandages, things that may have not been used in years. And you need to go ahead and replace those, because what good is it going to do you if the time comes that you have to use your first aid kit and everything inside is wore out? Now, most everything that comes packaged is going to be sterile, and you're not going to have any worries there. But again, check every individual item that is inside your first aid kit and make sure that nothing has expired. If you do see an expiration date, toss that item, make a note of it, visit your local pharmacy, your drugstore. You can pick up any item that you may need to replace inside your first aid kit there. Even smaller first aid kit. So we're going to have some basic items. But two, they also can expire, just like anything else. You can carry a pocket first aid kit. They make those too, especially some of you hikers that you have been out on the trail for quite some time. When you travel, you want to travel light. You don't want to carry a lot of stuff with you. And there are some first aid kits made specifically for people who go hiking. They don't take up much space. You can put them in a little pocket on the side of your knapsack, and you don't feel like you're carrying any additional weight whatsoever. But if you don't want to go out and buy your own first aid kit, if you like doing things the custom way, if you like building things that's going to be specific to your personal needs, I encourage you to visit the American Red Cross website. You can find them online at www.redcross.org. Let me try that again. www.redcross.org. And there you're going to find a list of items that should be contained in a first aid kit if you have a family of 4. It looks like there's a lot of items there. Don't worry about that. If you follow that to a letter, you're going to have everything you need just in the event an emergency should strike. And it's always good to have. Again, carry your first aid kit with you anywhere you go. Keep one in your car, your boat, your motorhome, your RV, your camping supply box, and also the one at home. And make sure every now and then you look inside to see that you have everything you need. Anything that you use, make it a point to replace it, because you never know when the next emergency is going to come about. As always, be prepared for the unexpected. And if emergency situation does occur wherever you may be, never, ever hesitate to pick up the phone and call 911. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Yep.
And this week, I want to take you to the state of Alabama, to the Corinth Recreation Area. Folks, this place is lovely this time of the year, and the campground is open all the way through Saturday, October 29th of 2016. So there's plenty of time to make your reservation online. And incidentally, if you haven't been to recreation.gov in a while, and you want to start using that website for camping destinations that you want to book, by all means, sign up for a free account. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up, and it makes your reservation process go so much smoother anytime you use a recreation.gov website to book your camping needs. Just look for the little gray box in the upper right-hand corner. It says sign in or sign up. The Corinth Recreation Area is located in Bankhead National Forest. Corinth is a popular recreation area on Lake Lewis Smith. It offers day-use camping, picnic sites. It is just absolutely so beautiful no matter how you look at it. The Bankhead National Forest is located in the northwestern part of Alabama, and its prominent feature is the Sipsey Wilderness, known as the Land of Thousand Waterfalls. It's an area of abundant streams, old-growth forests, limestone bluffs, and lush canyons. The facilities include a wheelchair access, flush toilets, drinking water, and showers are offered for both campers and day-use visitors. They have 2 nearby attractions within the Bankhead National Forest, and they are the Little Nature Bridge and the 19th century Pine Torch Church. Another popular attraction in the area is the Houston Civil War Jail. If you're into history, you would love this area, so definitely check it on out. Day-use visitors and campers have access to a boat ramp, swim beach. The lake provides excellent fishing for Kentucky spotted bass and hybrid striped bass. Again, like I say, if you're going to be camping from out of state, make sure that you get your out-of-state fishing license. You can find all the information you need online, but if you're an angler, you definitely want to bring your rod and reel here. Hikers have access to the 1.3-mile Bob White Trail. Interpretive programs are hosted during the summer months. All facilities are wheelchair accessible. Flush toilets, drinking water, and showers are offered for both campers and day-use visitors. The campground offers spacious, standard sites with full hookups that can accommodate RVs of any size. Sites contain paved parking spurs, picnic tables, grills, and tent pads. Check out a whole list of their activities and amenities on their website, and make sure you take note of some of the know-before-you-go items. As always, purchase your firewood locally. Don't bring firewood from out of the area. Visit don'tmovefirewood.org. The link is on their website here, or you can find it at happycamperradio.com. But it's a great place to go camping if you're in the state of Alabama anytime between now and October 29th of this year. Take time to visit the Corinth Recreation Area in Alabama. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, by all means, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, and make sure you include a link to the campground website. Well, that's about all the time I have for today's show. As always, it's a pleasure being with you. And we'll be getting together again for another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Invite your friends. Bring the family along. We'll throw a log on the fire for you. Remember, my friends, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly like I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us online anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Add us to Circles on Google+, and now subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And no question about it, my friends, I'm going to do my very best to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again real soon. Have a good one, everybody. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.